Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
One of the cooler technological developments in our lifetimes has been driving and traffic apps. The idea that on your phone or on the console of your car, you can have a screen that shows you traffic ahead of you, and you can type in an address and it can tell you how to get there, the fastest route or other alternate routes, how to do it avoiding highways and so on. And, these things are all very, very cool. But the question is, how accurate are they and can they be messed with? And interestingly, I've been driving before where I've had an app open on a phone showing something, and I've compared it to the app on the vehicle I was in while I was the passenger and noted that some of them were different from each other. And it's possibly because they're getting data from different sources and so on. But it's an interesting thing to think about. Well, TechDirt.com ran a fascinating story. Keith sent it to me. And Tim Cushing wrote the article for TechDirt. Colorado transportation officials asked navigation app providers to plant false information, and worse, the providers complied. Colorado transportation officials fed bogus information to map apps because they wanted to keep a road that was open from getting too much traffic on it. So they basically said, the road is closed. We want you guys to put that information up, even though it's not true. So they're hoping to keep traffic from rerouting down a smaller road after a larger highway was closed due to rock slides. And the Colorado Department of Transportation did this. They marked the road as closed on its traveler's update because of a safety closure due to a mudslide. And the undersheriff said Wednesday afternoon the county sent out an alert about 3:30 p.m. saying that. However, there were no mudslides, and the messaging evolved and was changed by CDOT. A CDOT spokesperson confirmed there were no slides. That affected the DOT's own site, and that's a problem because drivers depend on that information to be accurate. Falsifying reports for the purpose of controlling traffic flow shouldn't be considered acceptable, and I'm surprised it's not illegal for them to issue false reports. If you look at the law that creates a Department of Transportation within a state, it probably says that one of the things they shall do is issue from time to time information regarding road closures. And to issue false information regarding the road closure very well could be illegal. So that's an interesting point also. That, however, wasn't the only travel information outlet affected by the Colorado DOT's shady traffic shaping. Greg Miller, who's from the CDOT, was tasked with contacting the navigation services when agency officials were desperately trying to prevent motorists from using Highway 82 during the closure of I-70 through Glenwood Canyon. Traffic levels were hitting an estimated 7,000 to 9,000 vehicles per day during the week, and that's compared to a normal load of 1,000 vehicles per day. So John Lorm, the CDOT Director of Maintenance and Operations, directed them via email to get the roads closed on the navigation services. So presumably you could go out and put sawhorses out and just say the road's closed. But instead they said, no. Contact all those apps and tell them the road is closed. So I need this, and this is a quote, I need this to show closed to traffic on the mapping apps soonest. I will assume responsibility. All locals understand what's going on. It's the commercial vehicle and recreational vehicle traffic that is creating hazardous conditions. So the guy claims that he had a good reason for doing this. There was too much traffic and the traffic was unsafe. So they figured, hey, here's how we'll slow the traffic down. We'll issue fake reports about the road conditions to all the traffic apps. CDOT is a trusted partner with several navigation app providers, which allows it to directly feed traffic information to the apps. There's nothing trustworthy about feeding false information to popular consumer apps, and it seems that the DOT wanted to close the road or limit its traffic. It had plenty of options that did involve delivering false information to drivers via map apps and the DOT's own website. Like I said, that's what sawhorses are for, or orange barrels, or cones, whatever you want to put up. They have ways of closing roads. I've seen it done before. And the idea that they're like, hey, it might be more expedient just to contact the app and tell them the road is closed. So what makes this worse was the DOT's decision to maintain the illusion of road closure on consumer apps while updating its own site to then reflect the actual facts. So they actually updated their own site, but they left the apps with the false information. The man was successful in getting Google, Waze, Apple, and TomTom to show Highway 82 as closed on August 4th. However, the CDOT executive director insisted that evening that the agency keep Highway 82 marked as open on cotrip.org, the agency's real-time road status app. This, of course, does not fix the problem because drivers are more likely to be using the apps than a government website to figure out how to travel. And, of course, this diminishes trust both of the apps that drivers use and the government that's supposed to be serving them by giving the accurate information to the app. Again, Tim Cushing wrote a great article on this in techdirt.com. So the editorializing is his, but I agree with it. The next morning, Miller wrote to his supervisor, CDOT chief engineer, to express his concerns. Miller said maintenance and operations personnel had directed him to contact those driving apps. The prior data asked them to show Independence Pass closed for traffic routing purposes for the entire month of August. And again, the person saying this knows we are currently listed as a trusted partner with these services, and while they questioned this request, I explained to them that CDOT is concerned about traffic levels on the road and they need to be closed. They did it, but they questioned why Cotrip showed Independence Pass is open. So one of these apps, or more than one, contacted them and said, hey, look, you told us this road is closed. It doesn't even show it's closed on your own website. So the people in Colorado said, oh, let us explain why, and explain why. So Google's statement, because that's, I guess it was asked, appears to indicate that it's willing to plant fake information if asked to do so by government agencies. When official changes are made to restrict certain areas, we update our directions accordingly. But they could have just said it's been closed by order of the Colorado DOT. They could have said that. But instead they said, no, it's a mudslide. It's a mudslide. Apparently, the notion includes showing a road is closed when it actually isn't and listing a non-existent hazard such as a mudslide as the reason for the fake closure. So it's a bizarre story in a lot of ways. And I think it kind of got under the radar. But TechDirt caught it. Tim Cushing wrote that article, and TechDirt published it. And when you're looking at the traffic app, and again, like I said, I've got one on one of my vehicles, and I've also got one on my phone. And you'll see that a lot of the information on there is, in essence, crowdsourced. So a lot of people who are using a particular app are going down a road, and then they all slow down, and the app detects that, and the app can then indicate there's heavy traffic on the road. So the app is gathering some of its own data. But they also do gather data from the official sites. So there's the Michigan Department of Transportation, Colorado Department of Transportation, and these different DOTs around the nation. And so when the DOT in Michigan, for instance, is going to shut down a major portion of a highway for construction, which is pretty much every highway every month between March and November, they will send that information to the apps, and the apps will indicate, and you'll see when you open up your app, you'll see the little cone or some little indicator that shows you that there's construction here, construction there, or road closures or whatever. The idea that Colorado wants to close a road, they can do that. That's something they do. That's within their jurisdiction to do that. But the problem is that they lied about it and told the traffic apps to go along with the lie. And the traffic apps apparently did, which is crazy. So there was no mudslide. If you lived in the area and wondered about the phantom mudslide, that's what was going on. Colorado transportation officials asked the navigation app providers to plant false information, and worse, the providers went along with it. The providers complied. Tim Cushing wrote it for TechDirt. Great article. Keith sent it to me. Thanks a lot. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Favorite thing to do is to explore where I've never been.